The hat is off, the hair is cut, and today we're going to be taking a little trip down memory lane going through my watch collection. This video has been requested a couple of times and I've been wanting to make this video and I just barely finally got around to making it. So today we're going to be going over all of my watches that I have ever owned, like in the last 5 years, and what my collection is right now. Starting with the watch on my wrist, I'm wearing the Tudor Black Bay Pro. It is my most recent acquisition and I just barely made a video on it. I feel like most of you who are watching this have probably already seen that video, and it has just, I don't want it to leave my wrist. This has, I think, just barely overtaken my spot as my favorite watch, surpassing my Omega, which is kind of sad because my Omega is my baby. It's my favorite watch, but this might just barely be above it, at least right now, while I'm in the honeymoon phase. There's no particular order to how the watches are organized. I just went from the bottom of my watch box to the top of my watch box, and we're just gonna talk about each one and why I have it and why I like it, why I don't like it, and just kind of know an overview of the watches that I currently have. So this is what my full entire watch box looks like. I have a 12 slot watch box and I have 1 or 2 other watches that are kind of randomly placed, and then obviously the one that's on my wrist, but this is what we got right here. So starting at the bottom left corner, this is the only watch that I have ever been given as a gift. And this was a gift from my mom a couple years ago. To be fair, she did ask like what I wanted. It was a Christmas gift and she did ask like, what do I want for Christmas? And I'm like, well, this thing is kind of cool. That's kind of the back context story of it, is this was a Christmas gift from my mom. This is a Orient Bambino Open Heart is I believe what the full name would be called. It is 42 millimeters, which for me is way too big. That's why I don't really wear it anymore, but I will never get rid of it for sentimental reasons. It has the little cutout in the dial so that you can see the balance wheel oscillating back and forth, and that is the main reason why I wanted it. This was my second automatic watch that I ever got, and so back when I wanted this watch, I wanted something that showed off the fact that it was mechanical. That's kind of why I love this watch. I love the rose gold tone with the leather strap. It was my dress watch at the time. Before I really knew a whole lot about watches, I just knew that it was automatic and I liked it. I will never get rid of this watch. Sentimental reasons make it too important for me to get rid of it, but I just don't wear it because 42 millimeters for a time-only big dress watch is... Next up we have what is, in my opinion, the greatest watch on the planet Earth. This is the G-Shock. Don't know exactly the reference, but it's something along the lines of DW5610-1 or something like that. It is the G-Shock Square that is tough solar multi-band 6, and it can just do everything you would ever need time related in your life. It is 200 meters of water resistance, never need to change the battery. Because it's multi-band 6, it connects to the satellite every single morning, or I guess at midnight. And so every single morning you wake up with a watch that is perfectly accurate. It's black. It can go with essentially all outfits. It has been the best watch I have ever owned and will ever own. I got it in 2018. This was actually my first watch that I consider as my first watch that I bought myself wanting a dedicated watch. This is what I bought myself, and it has just been the greatest watch ever. I don't get a ton of wrist time with it. I'll wear it occasionally when I'm doing like an oil change or stuff, but other than that, it's just in my collection and I'll never get rid of it because it was my first. Next to that, we have, of course, another G-Shock. This I also recently made a video on. It is the Ed Sheeran G-Shock 6900. It's yellow, it's bright, it has a fun dial. It's really big and chunky and arguably really ugly, but that's why I like it. I wanted it just as a fun, cool watch. To me, it does that absolutely perfectly. This is the watch that I wear when I'm sleeping because I like to have the time. A little funny thing about me is my vision is terrible. I'm currently wearing contacts, but if I don't have my contacts in, I can't see anything and I'm blind. And so an alarm clock wouldn't really help me because I wouldn't even be able to see it. And I like to wear a watch because when I wake up in the middle of the night and I want to know what time it is, if I use my phone, it kind of like that brightness kind of wakes me up and then I can't really fall back asleep. And so what I use for sleeping in my sleep time is this Ed Sheeran G-Shock is my nighttime watch. Next to that, we have a 1980s Seiko Creedor Quartz. I got this watch because one day I just decided that I wanted a Cartier tank, and so I got this for $40. It was just on sale on a classifieds in my state, and I went and picked it up, bought it just so I could see if I liked having a small square watch, and I do actually really like it. The bracelet that is on it is my grandpa's bracelet that he wore on his Seiko. It's a 90s Seiko, just like a day date Seiko, and I went ahead and I put that bracelet on this because the strap that that came on it, I put on my vintage Omega that you'll see later. But in this little setup, it's just kind of a cool gold tone, old grandpa looking watch. And I don't know, I like it. It's really in terrible condition. The crystal is all messed up and I don't wear it a lot, but I do like having it. Next up, we got the Grogu watch. This is my funnest watch in the collection. Me and my friend, we were at Big 5 Sporting Goods and this was on sale for like $5 or $10. And fun fact about me also, I love Star Wars, and Grogu is the coolest little guy. And so when I saw that they had a Grogu watch, I lost my mind and I instantly had to buy it. I have never worn this. I don't know when I will ever wear it, but I will never get rid of it because Grogu is awesome. To the right of that, we have probably actually my least favorite watch in my watch collection, and that is the Omega Moon Swatch collab with Swatch. I have the Planet to Jupiter version and I have it on a Straps Co. silicone strap that's kind of like a Oyster Flex type strap. The reason why I don't like this watch is because for $270, which is the retail price and that's what I paid, the quality is, for me, not wearable. I like to be able to wear my watches doing whatever it is that I'm doing throughout my life, and that involves sometimes accidentally hitting my watch on things, on doorways, when I'm just not paying attention, when I hit it on stuff. And this watch just very much scratches like crazy because it has an acrylic crystal. And so I can't really wear this watch the way I would like to. And that's what makes it my least favorite watch. I like to have it in the collection because, you know, it's a moon swatch. I like the colorway. Orange is my favorite color, and so the orange chronograph hand and the seconds hands, I really like that watch aesthetically, not functionally. We then move on to my first proper vintage piece, and this is a 1956 Omega Seamaster calendar. It is 14 karat rose gold capped, and the movement on the inside is the caliber 503 from Omega. It is really old, and honestly, to be honest, this watch kind of scares me. It's just really old and makes all these weird sounds, and sometimes it just stops running, and then sometimes it'll just like run normally. And really, I don't know, it might need service. It's just really old and I don't know that much about it, but I love how it looks. The dial is in really bad condition, but that's why I like it, because it makes it look like what I call like an Oreo kind of colorway vibe. The 34mm case is really small. I love that. I love small vintage Omegas, and this is just my first old vintage watch that kind of is starting to get me into vintage, but I'm not all the way there yet. Next watch is my Hamilton Khaki Field Titanium 38mm. I just barely made a video on this talking about this. This is my dedicated kind of shooting watch. When I want something that's really lightweight, unobtrusive, and bashable, that's when I wear this, which for me in my life is usually only when I go shooting. So it's not very often that I wear this, but I do like it. It is my one and only titanium watch, my first titanium watch, and the only titanium watch I have currently. And titanium is just really cool. Next is my first mechanical chronograph, and this is my first automatic chronograph from Tissot. It is the PRX chronograph. This was actually my first watch video that went really popular. I think it got like 50,000 views or something, which isn't that much, but for a kid who's just randomly uploading a video to get like 20 views, I'm like, dang, 50K, that's pretty good. This is the white dial version with the blue subdials, and I don't wear this watch a lot right now for the strict reason of it's way too big in my opinion. It's 42mm, and because it's on an integrated bracelet, it wears bigger than a 42. So when I put this on, it feels more like a 43, maybe 44, 43.5mm. It just feels like a chunky, substantial watch, and it's really heavy because it's an automatic chronograph. So there's a lot of moving pieces on the inside, and it just weighs down your wrist, and it's really wobbly. And it's like a good watch. In my opinion, it's probably the absolute best bang for buck automatic chronograph you can get, but it's just really big. And so for my little tiny wrists, I don't love it the same way that I used to. Next up is honestly probably my third favorite watch in the collection, and it is the Christopher Ward the 12 in 36mm. I've made a couple videos on this watch. I am in love with this watch. I don't wear it a lot, but I probably wear it like once or twice a week. And the main reason why I don't wear it a lot is just because I keep getting new watches. So this really, my Black Bay Pro, that takes up all my wrist time right now. Something about the size and the proportions of this watch and the dial and the design, all for the price, I think is incredible. You're not getting the best movement for the price, but the movement is really reliable and good. And so I just don't have a lot of complaints with this watch, and aesthetically speaking, I love this watch. This watch scratches all my itches for APs, Pateks. Of course, I'm not even close to affording them, but I like how those designs look. And so this watch scratches those itches of wanting those type of watches for the price of $1,500. And so I just think the Christopher Ward is incredible. Not only the watch, but the brand. They are really doing some really incredible things right now in watches. Next in the box, we have the Smith's Everest PRS 25. I got this watch because my friend went on the list at Rolex for an Explorer 1. When we went and I tried it on, I'm like, dang, I actually really like how this 36mm case looks. I started to do more history on the Rolex Explorer. When you do that, you come to learn about Smith's Deluxe. And the story with Edmund Hillary kind of intrigued me. That's when I discovered this watch, the Everest PRS 25. So I was excited at the deal. I got it, and for $650, even though I overpaid, I think that is still tremendous value for money in terms of the finishing, the way it looks. The movement isn't crazy, but it's 4 hertz and it has the same power reserve as my Sellita SW200. It's just a really good time only, I guess it would be a field watch. If you want something that looks like a Rolex, but it's not a Rolex, but it has its own history, like this watch is just really cool to me, and I really like that whole Everest story. And so that's why I ended up getting that. Next up, we have my baby girl. This is my first luxury watch. Arguably my favorite watch. Still kind of on the fence between the Black Bay Pro. This is my Omega Seamaster Diver 300. White dial, incredibly accurate. I find that it runs on average 1.7 seconds fast a day on average throughout like a month. And so runs incredibly well. 300 meters of water resistance. I've taken this to the lake. I've taken it boating, paddle boarding, swimming, hiking. I've done as much as I can possibly do in this watch. And I, of course, put it on the Omega mesh bracelet that is styled after the James Bond No Time to Die watch. That is my attainable grail watch at the moment, but it's just really hard to justify the price for what it is. This watch on paper does more than the James Bond watch because it has a date. And so this watch has just been my favorite watch. To me, this watch represents not taking life too seriously and having kind of fun in life. That's why I bought it. And so whenever I put this on, it's just a reminder to not take things so seriously. And I got it for my 23rd birthday, and this was my first luxury piece, as I said. And this will just, I will never, ever, ever get rid of it. It will stay constant in my collection forever, as with some of my other watches. But it's my Omega. It's my baby, and I love it. And then ending with a little surprise watch that's not in the watch box because I don't like it anymore. It is my Invicta Pro Diver, and this was my first automatic watch. I actually bought this probably 1 or 2 weeks after I bought that Casio, the G-Shock, the black square G-Shock. I don't wear it anymore because, to be honest, now that I'm into watches and in the realm of watches, it is kind of an offensive watch. It's a straight ripoff of a Rolex Submariner, which is why I bought it back when I didn't know anything about watches, because the Submariner was my first love. It was the first watch design that just really spoke to me, and I really loved it. And so when I saw that Invicta, a brand that I didn't even know who they were, they made an automatic, essentially Submariner that looks just like it for $90 is I think what I paid. I was all in and I bought it. And that was my first automatic watch, and that kind of gave me the bug for being intrigued by things that are mechanical, specifically watches. I've been bit by the bug and I'm an addict, and it's a struggle, but it's awesome because watches are cool, but they are just really expensive. And that's just kind of an overview of my collection right now. Plans for the future are kind of to be determined. I'm at a standstill in terms of my desire to buy watches. I'm trying to focus on other things right now, and so buying watches is much less of a priority right now. But some of you have been asking for it, so I said, here you go. These are my watches. This is why I love them. Watches are just really fun. To me, watches are just these little objects that you can attach memories and times with, and sentimentality, if that's even a word too. And whenever I put on any of these watches, it brings me back to a time or a specific memory. And to me, that is why watches are so cool. Eventually, these will all be, of course, passed down in the future, if that's how things go. But enough blabbering on. This is probably a really long video. I hope you watched and enjoyed. Have any questions, leave them below. Any things that I might have forgot, leave them below. I'm gonna stop rambling and get to editing this video. Goodbye.